So when it comes to public speaking, you realize everything starts and falls and ends with public speaking. What you've been doing here is public speaking. You're introducing yourself to the world. But you realize that even when you're asked to introduce yourself, there's a bit of nervousness. You feel like, why do we feel nervous? Because that is a very huge block in public speaking. Why do we feel nervous? Whenever someone asks us to speak publicly, why do we feel nervous? You're not so sure if you're going to be perfect. Judgment. Anxiety. Anxiety is not knowing what next. So you panic. Okay? Not sure of the information that you're giving. You don't want to make a mistake. You fear the audience. Now, do you see all those things that we have mentioned? There is no single human on earth that does not feel those things. Even the greatest of all orators in the world, the Barack Obamas of this world, whoever you think is the best orator in this world, there is no single person that does not feel those feelings. But do you know what? After some time, when you say that I am not so sure about what I'm going to talk about, that is when I will point you back to preparation. You get it? When we talk about something as simple as introduction, sit down and understand, who am I when I'm introducing myself to other people? We don't just teach high-value people and executives how to introduce themselves. You need to know how to introduce yourself, because you are your own, best supporter and fan. So when you introduce yourself with a very firm handshake and say, I am Shakira, and this is what I do. This is what I sell. This is who I am. But let me ask, is there right or wrong information about you? Because then you're the one who knows about you. So there is no right or wrong. I can as well introduce myself as a mother if I want, and I will stop at that. I can introduce myself as a wife, and I will stop at that. So I want us to take away the anxiety and the nervousness that we feel whenever you're invited to speak, because that is the first thing. And guess what? This happens when you're in front of the camera, even when there is no one. Public speaking is public speaking, even when you're alone in your bedroom. For as long as you know that someone else is going to listen to this video, Neda, just record a video one day. In the back of your mind, you know your husband is going to listen to it, or your boyfriend, or even if it's a woman friend. There is a way, when you're speaking to yourself, if it's singatwali tweyogeza fekai, likuberanga mulalu. Tebiberako order, like everything flows. But when you speak to another person, you want to be more careful. But again, in being more careful, we limit ourselves. So we panic, we shake, and then we cannot speak. Have you ever panicked to the point that you cannot even speak? Not a single word can come out of your mouth. People have panicked and they've urinated on themselves. Yes. People have panicked and they have fainted. So I don't want you to ever get to a scenario where you have to speak up or you have to talk to a client, and communication is the key to everything. Whether a good relationship, whether a good business, or a good public speaking career, whether you want to be a coach, everything is done through words. So that means you really have to be comfortable with yourself. Someone talked about being perfect. That I fear that people are going to judge me. There was a judgment and then perfect. Who told you have to be perfect? This is the regret that most people that are on their deathbeds have, that they never got to try out or do things their way, that they were doing things people's way. The moment you know that I'm going to do things my way, okay? The moment you know you believe in yourself, the moment you hold a microphone, whatever comes out of your mouth, because preparation prepares you. You've already prepared your notes. And I usually say, put them in pointers, okay? So that you know that you don't have to read. Have you ever panicked? You have a paragraph in front of you, and then you panic, you want to read the paragraph, but you're reading the third line instead of the first line? That's what happens to most people when they prepare to speak, and then they go with a whole paragraph. But cut it out and say, I am going to write down my 5 points the way I understand them. And you write them in a way that is going to be understood by you before you even speak. So when you write it down, you have prepared yourself. You have taken away the biggest part of you being nervous. Now when you come, it's a matter of you steadying yourself, and practice makes perfect. Okay? Practice makes perfect. And I want us to try out this. I want someone to come and tell us 3 points how you deal with stress.
Thank you so much, Coach Bahati. My name is Navukera Winnie. I'm glad to be here. One of the ways on how you can control your stress is coming down by yourself. Number 2 is being able to listen to yourself. Because when you listen to yourself, you're able to internally calm down and say, hey, Winnie, you have to, calm down by yourself. Then number 3 is connecting to your creator. Because yes, these stressors come, but sometimes they tend to really cut us off on what probably we are intending to do. But if you have really a great connection with your creator, you're able to ask him for guidance, and then you're able to do the right thing. Thank you.
In stress, I calm myself. Nekunganya. Secondly, I think of a solution in Kozentia. There may be so many solutions, then I prioritize the workable solutions. But I also pray.
This is what I do when I'm stressed. Maybe I'm different from others. I can't kwekunganya. 1, I listen to music because it calms me down. Then 2nd, I love interior. I read things that I love so that I can make a decision when I'm stressed.
There is nothing under the sun that anyone will ever ask you to speak about that you have never gone through. The problem is we usually think that what we have to talk about is outside of us. So what we do is we run to Google and we Google other people's opinion, and then we come and present them. Because we don't own them, they feel strange to us, so we have to read them. The moment you learn to speak from your heart and know that there is nothing under the sun that you will ever speak about that you have not gone through, that you have not seen your friend go through, that you have not read about generally, not in the panic moment when you have to speak. When you speak from your heart, internalize. Even when you don't know the whole point of it or the whole presentation of it, try to internalize and ask yourself, if I were in this situation, what would I do? The best way of understanding is not cramming, but being able to reproduce what is already inside of you. Everything that I've accomplished is I always think I will figure it out, even when I don't know it. Give me something I have never done, and you tell me that you're supposed to do it. Whether I dance, whether I do what, I will figure out a way to do it. Why? Because I believe in myself 100% that I have all the ability. I can adapt, I can adopt, and I can learn, and I can unlearn. Okay? If the situations that you have gone through have taught you anything, they should have taught you that my mother used to tell me, techitayogera tekikola ki, tekirema yogera. Oba wakukiruma okiruma. Bweba lusozi, either you climb over it or you go through it or you go around it. But make sure you do something. I've seen so many people that have been called to speak and they have cold feet. In the moment where they have to speak, and then they have to withdraw and say, you know what, either I have a headache or they plan something. I know of so many, and let me tell you, even the prominent people, I know of so many prominent people that have told me that, you know what, nafiridwa nenga nchimanyi yafiridwa alina okwogera. You get it? So you have everything that it takes for you to say something. But number 1, I've always told us, find your niche, like find what you're interested in. Because when you talk about what you're interested in, if you're interested in children, Fifi finds it so easy to speak about children because she's a lover of children. She finds it so easy to talk about God in relation to upbringing, to child upbringing, because she's a lover of that. Christine finds it so easy to talk about marriages and lasting marriages because she's a lover of that and she has practiced that. You get it? So when you stand to speak, you own your content and be able to speak. So let's go through very quickly through the 4 pointers of strategic communication. You're going to need strategic communication, whether you're talking to your husband, whether you're talking to your child, whether you're talking to a client, whether you're talking to a company, whether you're talking to people. You're going to need strategic communication. Okay? Are we together? Now, strategic communication, I say it the way I understand it or the way I would want you to understand it. And this is when there is a win-win between the 2 parties that are communicating. Okay? That is the simplest. There is a win-win. We know that in communication there is encoding and decoding. So when I talk to you, I should be able to cater for how you understand what I am telling you, not how I communicate. There are so many people that cater for how they communicate, and then they don't care about how the other person perceives it. Okay? So the end matters, because how you understand is how you're going to get back to me. So if I need something, I should be able to communicate in a way that you are going to encode that information, okay, and be able to interpret it and understand it the way I understand it. Do you know why so many marriages are breaking up? Half the time the woman is speaking another language and the man is speaking another language. The woman is saying, you do not care, but does not understand. The man does not understand what does care mean. So to you, care means massaging and massaging your feet while you're pregnant. He is busy buying gonja and chicken. And then you will start, but he does not care. Did you tell him the meaning of care? So next time you communicate, and this is going to iron out 99% of your problems. Next time you communicate, make sure that you ask the other person for the feedback. How have you understood this? And then they will relay it to you according to how they have interpreted it. And then you will tell them, no, let me correct it. That's not what I meant. Have you ever seen people quarreling? Do you know that most of the times they just don't understand each other? And that is where someone says, but chogamba nange chengamba, and then nayenga sigwe chowulira. And they're like, but I was saying, I meant the same thing. No, you said something different. Why? Because communication is affected by intonation, posture, the loudness or the silence, the low key, okay, the tone. It's affected by so many things. So you can't be saying, nkwagala nengo yagala kunkwagula. You're saying something different. Okay? Omuntu ayagala aweweta. You know? So in communication, you have to have a goal in mind. For example, I'm just going to give this as an example. We have Fresh Diary. They are sponsoring us to be here. Now, if I wanted a sponsorship with Fresh Diary, I would have had to initiate the communication. Maybe I write a letter to them. Now, I write a letter with the end in mind, or the goal is to make sure that they sponsor my campaign. Okay? Number 2, understand your audience. I will give still an example of Fresh Diary. The moment I understand Fresh Diary, because now he's my audience, I am going to write to them to make sure that they sponsor, they come on this campaign. I will have to ask myself, what does Fresh Diary want? And I will know that Fresh Diary has a target audience of women, of children, of men, okay? And I will know that this is the product that they want to put out. I am studying my audience, okay? So that when I write to them, I have a goal of them sponsoring me, but again, I have to understand my audience so that I can place my needs within what they do. Number 3, communicate the value. If Fresh Diary is to come on board with us, what value do they get? Because everyone wants value. And I want you to say it with me. Everyone wants value. The day you go to people and you're not giving them value, then you're not valuable. And whoever is not valuable is trashed. We delete, we block. So when I understand, number 1, I had a goal. I want Fresh Diary to come. I'm giving this as an example. I want them to come on board to sponsor or to work with us. But again, I have to understand my audience, which is Fresh Diary. I have to be able to know what do they want. Okay? Because then I have to give them what they want so that they can give me what I want. It's a win-win situation. Now, that is communicating the value. That if you come on board with me, it's like a relationship. You see this dude, or this dude slides in your DM, okay, on Instagram. He's like, oh, you're beautiful, what? I hope you don't mind if we can crack a conversation, okay? And then, this is what girls do. They go to other fellow girls. Do you see he's handsome? Oh my God, I went to his wall. And then there will be that one sober girl who will say, now, what do you want? Do you just want a one-night stand? Do you want to just hang out with this person, or you want a relationship? Because some of us are never clear about what we want. Wanji? You have to work with a goal in mind. Because then it motivates you. And that is where, because let's meet, even if it's a Friday, you will not come in a patra because you're like, I'm just passing time. No, you will dress up like a normal lady and show up. Why? Because you have an end in mind. So you've gone on this date, you're talking to this guy, but you know that what you want is eventually to have a relationship with this person. That is a goal. And number 4, express the need. Okay? Express the need. Now, by the time you express the need, do you realize you plowed the ground, you prepared the ground, and everything is ready? So when you speak and say, this is what I want, or it's whether it's the money, whether it's the whatever it is, you express the need, but the ground is ready. Even in public speaking, okay? That is what you do. You have a goal in mind. When you go to a place to speak, tell them what value they are going to get out of you speaking to them. Tell them by the end of this speaking engagement, or by the end of my speech, you should be able to identify where you're stuck, and then you should be able to know how to get unstuck. Then I will give you my ears. And let me tell you this. Do you see how all of us are here? This is what happens. How you should be able to value everyone. I value you according to the time that you have given me. Okay? If it's time, it has to be an hour times the 50 people in this place. That is how much time you people have given me that I should be able to value, because in those 50 hours, so many of you could have done so many valuable things. But you chose to be in this place. So do not waste people's time. Never waste anyone's time. If someone shows up in front of you, they are looking for value, give them full value. I value the time that you have given to me. Okay? And the reason as to why I'm so passionate about being nervous and being fearful, and I usually tell people, don't pray it away. Okay? Yes, the other bad side, you can pray it away, but the good side of you being nervous, it shows that you still care about people. The moment I am nervous about anything, that means I care about that thing. Ladies, have you ever been nervous about talking to your boyfriends or husbands about something? Why did you fear? Why were you nervous? Because it could have been as simple as, Mwami, njagala yakavidi na eka milioni 2. Njagala Brazilian ya milioni 2. Wanji? Why do you fear? Wanji? His reaction. But what your reaction, by the way, there is a problem. Because, let me tell you, if I went to my husband right now and I told him, Njagala Brazilian ya bukadde busatu, do you know how it's, Fifi, do you know that, what answer he would give me? What answer would he give me? He will make super fun out of it, in that I will cry until I laugh and I will forget about the Brazilian that I asked for. Like, he will get all sorts of things, and sometimes I don't know where his mind gets these things. He will tell you how either ziva kumirambo oba nebintu ebyo mubinonya kochi, and he will speak, and like the incense is just to crack your ribs, and you will leave that conversation, and you will mind your business. Okay? So I never fear about his reaction. I just say whatever comes to my head. And sometimes it's like, hey, you didn't tell me, you need that. You have it. I'm like, twice a order. And sometimes abakyala ne bwe tuba tulina tuba twagala. Okay, so public speaking is not just for audiences. Public speaking is for your bosses. You go to your boss, I know, and you go to your boss, you want to bargain, salary increment. Have an end, have a goal, okay? And then make sure that you understand what do they want. So you study the company, no gamba company chichebulamu. Agamba no company teina administrator. No company teina chino. Can I do it? Okay? And then you come with value. And then you communicate the value that if you can be able to hire me or take me on, this is the value that I bring. How many of us have gone to interview rooms? And yet, wogenza okulaba si bakatonda, they are not gods. They are human beings. Balya lumonde, balya muwogo. They don't have blue blood. That is why you should stop fearing human beings. We are all the same and we all have the same problems, all the same issues. The things that you're fighting with is that what someone else is fighting with, okay? So, I want us to have an example, someone to give us an example of how they will approach a situation. Formulate a situation and tell us how you would formulate that situation, how you would approach that situation. Anyone?
We have home sales every Wednesday. They're supposed to begin at 6, but people don't usually keep time. So in the start, like when they don't keep time, what we say, you tell sale leaders by 6, start off the program. If someone comes in at 8 or 8:30 and you're done, please go home. So actually in the start, people would delay, they would come at 7:30 and what, but when I insisted that we are supposed to start at 6 exactly, now people keep time and just very few of them come late and miss out.
So you communicated the goal that you relate it to.
The goal. The goal is to teach people how to be punctual, especially youth. They don't keep time, how to be punctual, and then how to value the time with God, because you realize we only have Sunday when we go to church. So if there is space for home sales fellowships every Wednesday.
So do you communicate to them like you would communicate to older people?
I talk to them as youth. One, home sale is fun. We don't just come and sit and read the Bible and what. We have fitness after, then we do tea and snacks after.
And those are the things that get the youths.
Yes, exactly.
So now you're understanding your audience so that you can communicate in a way that they understand.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much.